semi-automatic analysis. So basically right now I'm going to use the UAM Corpus tool version 2.8 in order to carry out the semi-automatic annotation. So in this research, I've chosen the linguistic feature meta-discourse. Meta-discourse here is a term coined by Highlands 2005, and here we have a whole interpersonal model of meta-discourse where Highland highlights the relationship of the text to context. It points to the expectations readers have for certain forms of interactions and engagement. So this is the model of analysis, the annotation scheme that I'm going to use in order to have the semi-automatic annotation. And here I have two levels of analysis. The first level is the interactive resources that the authors use in order to help the readers through the text. So for example, we can have transitions, frame markers, ondophoric markers, evidentials, and code glosses. For transitions, they express relations between main clauses. And here, for example, I can mention in addition, but, thus, and the conjunction and. We can also have frame markers, which refer to discourse acts, sequences, or stages. And they are frequently realized by expressions like finally, to conclude, my purpose is, my aim is, my goal is, etc. Also, we have ondophoric markers that refer to information in other parts of the text. So here we have, for example, in section 2, in section 1, we have C section 1, C section 2, C table 1, C table 2. So we have references to other parts in the text. Also, we have evidentials, which refer to information from other sources. So for example, we say, according to A, or according to B, according to this scholar, or this scholar mentions. So here we bring other authorities into the text. Also, we have code glosses, which elaborate propositional meanings through, for example, words like namely, such as, in other words, for example. So these are the linguistic features that I am going to analyze here. So here I have interactive resources, and I have linguistic features like transitions, frame markers, ondophoric markers, evidentials, and code glosses. At the second level of analysis, I have interactional resources that involve the reader in the text. And here we have different linguistic features. First of all, we have hedges, which withhold commitment and open dialogue. So for example, hedges are realized through might, perhaps, etc. Also, we have boosters, which emphasize certainty and close dialogue. And boosters are usually realized by words like in fact, definitely, it is clear that, where we insist on the truth of the preposition. Also, we have attitude markers where the authors express their attitude to the preposition through, for example, unfortunately, surprisingly, I agree. So they explicitly mention their point of view. Then we also have engagement markers that explicitly build relationship with readers. Like, for example, when we say consider, so consider, the author is directly communicating with the reader. You can see that. So the reader is directly, explicitly involved with the author in the text. Also, we have self-mentions, by which we have explicit reference to the author through, for example, I, we, my, me, our. So I explicitly, the author explicitly mentions him or herself in the text. So here, basically, we have interactional resources where we have hedges, boosters, attitude markers, engagement markers, and self-mentions. So I'm going to repeat this point. So this is the scheme of analysis, the annotation scheme that I'm going to use. I have interactive resources, and then I have transitions, frame markers, ondophoric markers, evidentials, and code glosses. And then within interactional resources, I have hedges, boosters, attitude markers, engagement markers, and self mentions. And together, whether we have interactive resources or interactional resources, both of them, they are part of the Notion meta discourse. Okay? So after introducing the linguistic feature that I'm going to use, I'm going to move to the two genres. So basically here I have selected two genres, case reports and brief reports. And normally here, these two genres are expected to have different lexicogrammatical choices, have different discursive practices, which may be revealed through the analysis of meta discourse. Okay, some of the features of brief reports versus case reports. So brief reports, they introduce the findings of small case studies. They do not include enough data to warrant a full research article. However, for case reports, they describe individual clinical cases and they derive their value as evidence from the real-world authenticity of the cases they describe. Despite of the differences between the two genres, both of them are used as mediums for scientific knowledge dissemination, basically in medical science. So here, the major purpose of this research is to analyze these two different genres and to explore the differences in the distribution of the meta-discursive features that I have just spoken about, whether interactive resources or interactional resources. Okay. So here, basically, the annotation scheme, I'm going to have two important points. We have meta-discourse and genres. And we have here a comparative approach to the analysis of meta-discourse in order to explore how medical writers negotiate their professional personas while observing the conventions of their respective genres. That is to say, the two different genres, brief reports and case reports. So here we are going to start with the first step to enter the data and the scheme of analysis. Okay. So this is the scheme of analysis that I'm going to enter right now. So I'm going to go to the desktop and I'm going to go directly to the icon, the UAM corpus tool, version 2.8. So version 2.8. Start a new project. Next. So maybe workshop 2024. Desktop. So here, do you want to save? So the project will be saved in the desktop here. Next. Finalize. So this is the main window of the UAM corpus tool, and this is the process that you are going to go through, whether you are going to have automatic, manual, or semi-automatic annotation. So basically, you are going to go through the same process. Okay. So the first step here is to extend corpus. That is to say, we are going to enter the data, extend corpus. So I have a Word document. So you can see here, this is the workshop 2024 that I have just created. And here I have the files that I am going to use. So here I have the file brief report and case report. So here you need to change the extension of the file. File, save as. So normally here, desktop, and here you need to change the extension, text to boot. So we need to change the extension into TXT extension, and then we are going to save, and we have the text saved. So you need to do this step in order to get the file uploaded into the UAM corpus tool. So here I have the two files. I have already converted them into files with txt extension. I'm going to show you this step again. And of course, this step, you need to go through this step, whether you are going to opt for automatic, semi-automatic, or manual annotation. So file, save as, and then here I choose the location, whether I'm going to put it in the desktop or in another location. So yeah, I'm going to put it in the desktop. I'm going to change the type, text separate, and here I click and it will be saved. Okay, we need this step because we cannot upload Word documents into the software. So here, after having this, you can see, so we have the files with different extensions. Yes, txt extension and not Word documents. Extend corpus. Next. So here I'm going to upload the files. And then I click on the three dots, desktop. And then I have brief report. I repeat the same step. So extend corpus. Next. Case report. Next. Finalize. So here I have uploaded the documents, but they are not yet. And you see here we have the txt extension, txt, .txt, because we cannot upload Word documents. So we have uploaded right now the documents, the txt documents, but we cannot have them incorporated. So we need to click on this button, incorporate all. And done. And here we have the two texts incorporated into the software. So the next step here, we are going to add the layers of analysis. If I'm going to go back to the presentation here, so here we have the first layer, meta discourse, interactive versus interactional. And here we have, under the system interactive, we have transitions, frame markers, on the fork markers, evidences, and code glosses. And under the interactional system, we have hedges, boosters, attitude markers, engagement markers, and self-mention. So I'm going to enter this model right now. Okay, so I'm going to name this meta discourse. And here I'm going to annotate segments within the documents. That is to say, I'm going to highlight words like according to, or A mentions that, or as noted in section A. So I'm going to annotate segments, elements, words within the document. So I'm going to choose annotate segments. And here I'm going to create my new scheme, the model that I'm going to use in the annotation in the analysis. Okay, this step is very important. So I can repeat this later on when I'm going to create the second layer. So here I have created this layer, meta discourse, and here I have the button. We have two buttons, delete and edit. Edit, I'm going to change and include the features that I want to use in the analysis. So basically here I'm going to incorporate the features, exactly the same model that I have here. I'm going to copy the same features and I put them in this layer. So here I have meta discourse, and this one should be interactive. It should be changed. So here I click on the right button, and rename feature interactive. Okay. The same here, we have a second system here, interactional. So here I go back to the feature interactive, and here I'm going to have this system. I'm going to include this system: transitions, frame markers, ondophoric markers, evidentials, and code glosses. So I come here to the word interactive. I click on the right button and I choose add system. Add system, and then I have two features: feature one, feature two. So feature one, I click on feature one and I choose rename feature. And here I write down transitions. Then I click on feature two and I choose the same rename feature and I choose frame markers. So here I have just included two features and I'm still left with ondophoric markers, evidentials, and code glosses. So I come back to the system interactive type and I click on the right button and I choose the alternative add feature. And I write down ondophoric markers. I repeat the same process until I get all the features included. So I have add feature and another feature, evidentials. Okay, so as you can see, we are still left with one feature called glosses. So we need to go through the same process. So interactive, right click, and then add feature, and then code glosses. And we enter the same second system in the same way. So add system, and here we add a system with different features. So feature one, it should be hedges. So right click and rename feature hedges. Right click, rename feature, and I choose boosters. Okay, I have included just two features and I'm still left with three features. So I come here on the system, interactional type, and right click, add feature. And here I'm going to add attitude markers. I repeat the same process, right click, add feature, engagement markers. Add feature, self mentions. Okay, I have gone very quickly through these details because, as I've told you, all of these details are shared on our website, where you can find Syflat's website, where you can find a video explaining very well the different steps that you are going to use in the manual annotation. So, as I have said, this system, it should be included. This step should be included whether you are going to have automatic, manual, or semi-automatic annotation. Okay. So here I have entered the first layer of analysis. And the second layer, so I've told you from the beginning, I'm going to focus on two genres: case reports and brief reports. So basically right now I need to include these two genres. So after including the annotation scheme for the linguistic feature meta discourse, I also need to include the layer for the genres I'm going to analyze. So here I go through the same process, add layer, next. And here I have genres. And here I'm going to choose annotate document, not annotate segments, because I'm going to consider the whole document as either it is a brief report or a case report. I'm not going to focus on the different linguistic features within the document. I'm not going to focus on these points. I'm going to focus to classify the whole document, whether it is a brief report or a case report. And next, create a new scheme. I'm going to create my new scheme and then finalize. So here, we go through the same process. I have this button, edit, and I go through the same process. And here, rename feature, brief reports, and second feature, case reports. Okay. So I have the two levels of analysis, the two layers that I'm going to use. The first one for meta discourse, the linguistic feature, the model of analysis. So in your research, maybe you have modality, you have mood analysis, you have transitivity. So this is the system I'm going to focus on. And I have the second layer of analysis, and here I have the genres that I'm going to focus on. So after entering these different levels of analysis, right now I'm going to move to autocode. That is to say, to assign features to existing segments using search patterns. Here for autocode, it uses both concordance searching and annotation. It allows both. It relies on both. Okay. And for concordance searching, we have different types. We have literal token, wildcard token, match any, constraining by class, general class matching, or inflection matching. So I'm going to go through all these details one by one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to go through all of them, and I'm going to show you how we can use them in this project. So I'm going to start with the first one, literal token. Literal token. So I have concordance searching, then I go to literal token to match the token itself only. So for example, I want to, for example, in self-mentions here, I'm going to come back to this. For self-mentions, interactional resources, self-mentions, I'm going to annotate all the instances of the personal pronoun we, or all the instances of the personal pronoun I. I don't need to read the whole corpus in order to annotate. The UAM corpus tool can do the task for me and can annotate all the instances of the pronoun I and assign the feature self-mentions to all these instances. So I don't need to go through the whole every sentence and read each word in order to identify the personal pronoun we, the personal pronoun I, and then assign the feature self-mentions. No, I don't need to go through all these steps. I can just do this through a simple step in the semi-automatic annotation. So here for the literal token, so I am going to go to the pane autocode, and here we have add new rule. So I'm going to create the new rule that fits my model, or I have, for example, created a rule and I decided to change the rule. I'm going to change it, or I'm going to delete, to remove the rule. Okay, so here we are going to go to the autocode pane, and we are going to select create new segments in one layer based on string patterns in the text. That is to say, the UAM corpus tool is going to select or to look for these patterns in the text and annotate them for the researcher. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the UAM corpus tool, autocode. So here you see project. We are in the project windows, as you can see, where we entered the different layers of analysis and the different texts that we are going to work on. And right now we are going to move to the autocode. Autocode, and we are going to add, since this is the first time, so adds a new rule. So adds a new rule and opens it for editing. Add. So here we have different options. Search for segments and assign those segments a particular feature. So here, if you have already annotated other segments in the corpus, for example, if you have already annotated verbs and you want to assign them the feature active versus passive, you can use this alternative. Or create new segments in one layer based on corresponding segments in another layer. So for example, here this applies when you have a layer of analysis. You have, for example, noun phrases, and you have analyzed the structure, and then you want to analyze the same linguistic features, noun phrases, for example, for their grammatical functions. So you want to take the same annotated features, but to carry out another level of analysis. So here you can use create new segments in one layer based on corresponding segments in another layer. I'm so sorry, maybe this is confusing, but here right now, since this is the first demonstration in the semi-automatic analysis, I'm going to use this alternative, which may help you better. So create new segments in one layer based on string patterns in the text. So I'm going to choose the third one. And, okay, I'm sorry. Okay. So here we are going to look for an inventory. So here we have words, like example, like we, like bad, like and, like figure, furthermore, may, possible. Okay, so we have said that we, if we go back to this here, to this model of analysis. So here we have we. This is an example of self-mentions. I'm going to annotate all the instances without reading the different texts. Okay, so here, normally all the instances of we, meta discourse, and I'm going to create corresponding segments, self-mentions. So we set a meta discourse self-mentions. Okay. And then we click on the button we. You see, all the instances of we are shown for you here. I don't need to read each word in the text. I have all the instances. And if I select, you see the button code selected, sorry, code selected. So if I say, I say code selected, if I click on this button, so all of these instances will be automatically assigned the feature self-mentioned. So code selected, you see. Then I move to statistics in order to check whether all these features have, or whether all these instances have been assigned the feature self-mentions. So I go to statistics. So I used to be here, autocode. I have looked for all the instances of we. I have selected the button code selected because I want to assign the feature self-mentions to all these instances. And then I go to the pane statistics in order to check whether I have these features, these words annotated. So statistics, and here I select feature coding, and I select show. Interactional 22, self-mentions 22. So you see, it is automatically annotated, included in the corpus. Okay, I can do the process for the second time. For example, we can choose, if we go back to the system of analysis, for example, we have I. I'm going to look for all the instances of I, and I'm going to assign the feature self-mentions to all these instances. So I repeat the same process. I go to AutoCode, and then I can click on the button Edit. Since I'm going to choose, instead of we, I'm going to choose I, and I'm going to annotate all the instances of I as self-mentions. And then I click on the button Save. Show. I have just one instance of I. No. So here we have a problem. We have a problem. I here is not. I here is not a personal pronoun. See table 1. So this is table 1. So this is not the personal pronoun I. So simply here, I can uncheck this box, and then I leave. You should not here, in this case, you should not select, you should not press the button code selected. Okay? Since the I here is not a personal pronoun, so it refers to one. So I cannot include this in my annotation. Okay, I come back here to the project. So this is the main window. I have the 2 levels of analysis. Here I have meta discourse, I have genres, and here I have the different texts that I'm going to analyze. So basically in the manual annotation, we used to, for example, click on this and read every single instance, publish reports on blood pressure estimates from, etc. And I continue reading till I find instances of personal pronouns or the features that I want to investigate. But here, as you can see, the personal pronoun we is already annotated for you without going through the text. Okay, second point. So I'm going to move to another point. Okay, maybe it's easier to have the scheme of analysis. We can choose, for example, here I have transitions. And transitions include but. Let's look for the word but and assign the feature transitions without reading the text, without going through this process, reading and annotating. So this is manual annotation. It consumes a lot of time. I'm not going to go through this. I'm going to move to AutoCode, and I'm going to add a new rule, and I'm going to select create new segments in one layer based on string patterns in the text. Then I'm going to write down but and create. So but here corresponds to transitions, as you can see. But corresponds to transitions. Save and show. Okay, so we have all the instances of but in the corpus shown here. So for example, if it is not the case, as it is with the personal pronoun I. So here, a few minutes ago, we have entered I, and then we have table 1. So this is not I, this is table 1. So if you don't agree with the automatic result here, you can uncheck. So I think this is not a conjunction. I'm going to uncheck. This is not a conjunction. I'm going to uncheck. And then I press the button code selected. And these instances will not be included in your annotation. So this step is very important here to check or uncheck these boxes, because this step allows you to solve ambiguity, because here of course the automatic or semi-automatic analysis, we expect sometimes some problems in the annotation, some confusion, and especially in some grammatical points, like the instance of I and one, they are written in the same way. So here we have some confusion in the analysis. So here you can resolve ambiguity through checking or unchecking these boxes. In our case here, all the instances, if I read very well, all these instances are conjunctions. So normally all of them are included. So I need to check all the boxes that I have here. And then I move to code selected. Okay. So normally they are included in the annotation. If I move to statistics, and I click on the button, so you see here, transitions, we have 0. So here I'm going to click on the button show. You see, we have 8. It has changed. We have 8 transitions. We have 8 examples of the conjunction but. Okay, we continue with the same. Okay, we can also take, for example, another word. Finally, for example, or maybe C figure or C on the phoric markers. Autocode, add, create new segments, C or C figure as you like. We can enter both on the phoric markers, save, and show. I think here we have different cases to discuss. I think here the word C, we can have C figure, C table 1, or the author's C. So maybe especially in popular articles, maybe this is a point of ambiguity. So show, we have no instance. So we have no instance of this. Let's see other features. Figure, fig. Okay, we are going to enter fig and see whether we have instances of endophoric markers. The same, edit, and fig. Save and show. Okay, we have figure 1, figure 2. We have endophoric markers. So these are also cases of endophoric markers. And here we are going to press the button code selected, and all the features are annotated. For example, May, we can choose May. And here May in the model, it corresponds to hedges. May or might. Okay, add, create new segments. May, I'm going to assign the feature hedges. Save. Okay, I need to read these cases in order to further check whether all of them express hedges. So I think in this case, although I have briefly proofread the cases, so I think all of them are instances of hedging. So I'm going to have all these boxes checked, and here I'm going to click on the button code selected. Okay, if I go to the pane statistics and I click on show, you see the number of hedges has increased. Okay. We can also select another feature. If it is clear, maybe we can interact in the chat box. I don't know if this step is clear. I can move to the next step. If it is clear, I can move to the next step. If it is not clear, I can provide other examples. Yes or no? Maybe you can help me with some in the chat box. In the chat box, sorry. Chat box. Okay, clear. Thank you. Okay, I can move to the next step. So this is for the literal token. You take the word as it is and you assign features to this word. Second way to have this semi-automatic annotation will match any number of charts. So CA, and then you have the asterisk, it will match any instances starting with these with these letters CA. So for example, in the word cat, it will match all the words starting with these letters. Or ED, all the words ending with ED. Or when we put the asterisk in the middle, bro, asterisk, and then EN, so here it will match any words with these letters before and these letters at the end, like a broken. So the word broken starts with BRO and it ends with EN. So here, maybe this step will help any researchers focusing on morphology, morphological analysis, where they want to maybe to analyze suffixes, prefixes. It helps you to annotate, for example, all the words starting with this prefix, all the words ending with this prefix, or not prefix, all the words, for example, any researchers working, for example, on lexical cohesion, lexical analysis, and you have a particular set of words that you want to annotate in your corpus. So maybe this step will help you. So we can try this. We enter this word and we see all the words starting with these letters C, A. Okay. Okay. I go back. Autocode, although this won't really help me in this project. So in this project, basically, I have used the semi-automatic literal token, but for those working on lexical analysis, on morphological analysis, this step will also help you. Autocode and add. So here I have not created a feature. Maybe I need to create a feature, another feature. I go to the UAM corpus tool, edit, although this is not part of this project. Okay, add system. For example, rename system, affixes. And here I'm going to work on morphology, affixes. Rename feature, suffixes. Add system, inflectional. Rename feature, inflectional. So I go to autocode, add, create new segments. And here, for example, we have included the feature, suffixes, inflectional. Inflectional. Here it is, inflectional. And here we are going to have the ED. ED. And save. Show. Okay, we have all the words. We have all the words ending with ED in the corpus, but we need to go through all of them in order to check whether all of them are inflectional suffixes or not. I think You see here the ed. This is not an instance of an inflectional suffix. So here I need to go to this box and I need to uncheck. Also here, ed. This is a technical term in medicine. So I need to uncheck. ed here, technical term, I need to uncheck. ed, technical term, I need to uncheck. And here, of course, I need to go through all the instances that I have here. I need to solve ambiguity that I have in the analysis. Then, if everything is okay, I'm going to click on the button Code Selected. If I go to Statistics, and here I need to change the feature that I'm going to analyze, the feature that I'm concerned with, suffixes. And let's see, you see inflectional. We have the number of the inflectional suffix of the past, ed. Here it is annotated for us automatically. Okay, we are going to carry out the same process. But here we are going to look for, we have just analyzed the suffix words ending with ed. Now let's look for words starting, for example, with ca, the letter ca, and see how we carry out the automatic analysis. Okay. Okay. Autocode, the same process. Then edit. Here, for example, we can have all the words starting with CA in the corpus. We need to have, for example, we are going to have the lexical analysis, and we need to annotate all the words starting with CA. So CA, okay. And maybe this is not inflectional. We are going to give it another feature, feature 2, which I have not already named. Feature 2 and save. Okay, we have many words here starting with CA. So these are all the words starting with CA. So I can select all these words and assign the feature that I want. It depends whether you are going to have lexical analysis or morphological analysis. So for example, if you have some kind of morphological analysis, for example, you can have the prefix an, and you see whether you can find any instances of this prefix in the corpus. So here, this step allows you to identify all the words starting with CA, with the BA, any words in the English language. Okay, so we can identify words based on the initial letters or the last letters in the word. Okay. The next step, still here with this step, we have any word starting with the prefix an, or any word starting with the suffix ol. Do you want to further try this with the prefix an, for example? Let's further try this. Statistics, autocode, add, create new segments. So we're starting with the prefix an, and here feature 2. Save, show. Here I have all the instances. Until, I don't think it's a prefix. I think I need to uncheck this. So I need to go through all of these instances. Underwent, I think the prefix is under. So I need to go through all these instances. Any researchers working on morphology, I need to go through these instances and check. For example, unit. This is not, the N is not a prefix, not a prefix. It's part of the root. So here I'm going to uncheck, and then I'm going to click on the button code selected. So you need to go through all of these instances in order to check whether we have an accurate annotation or not. And then I click on the button code selected. Of course, here, so normally the step that I did not mention here, I need to go to this feature 2, and I need to rename this rename feature prefixes. Okay. So this is feature 2, prefixes. So if I go back to AutoCode, I have until, and I have selected the feature 2, prefixes. And so normally if I go to statistics, let me check this. I need to change prefixes, show. Okay, not yet annotated. I go back. The question why I cannot see the number of the words including an. Why? The answer is because I have not pressed this button. So I need to press this button in order for me to see the annotation. Code selected, and then statistics, show again. We have no instances. Okay, prefixes. Okay, let me see the original model of analysis. Okay, meta discourse affixes. Statistics. Affixes is not shown here. Okay, if I select this. Okay, because it is included within the same system meta discourse. So we have in meta discourse 2 subsystems. We have the first one of Highland, and second one that I have created right now in order to show you how to apply this for morphological analysis. So here I have the number of suffixes, the number of prefixes, and here I have inflectional suffixes. Inflectional suffixes because we have already annotated ed, and the prefixes because we have already annotated an. I think it's time for the break.
Maybe yes, if you like. Yes, it's 10. So if you finished this theoretical account, Sabiha, we can have.
I haven't finished yet, but maybe we can have the break right now, and then we can come back to the remaining part of this presentation after the break.
Yes, sure. You're the boss, Sabiha. So if you need a break, of course. How much time? 10, 15 minutes, if you like?
Yes, that is as it is mentioned in the poster,
okay.
I think.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, so 15 minutes, we get back at 10:15, if you like. Thank you very much, Sabiha.